Hello and welcome to Issues and Answers, a production of the Government Information Service and the National Television Network. I am your host, Kendall Eugene. Today we have with us the marketing specialist at Republic Bank EC Limited, Mr. Kelly Mitchell, and as well joining us we have Mr. Craig Henry, and he is the Executive Officer of the Lucia National Conservation Fund. We're talking today about the partnership and call for proposals between the Lucia National Conservation Unit and Republic Bank. Gentlemen, good morning and thank you for joining the program.
Morning.
Let's just start with a brief description about who you are and your roles within your organization. So we can start with you, Kelly.
All right, thank you, Kendall. Good morning to your listeners of NTN. I'm Kelly Mitchell, the marketing specialist for Republic Bank in the East Caribbean territories. And so obviously, today we're here with the St. Lucia National Conservation Fund, which is part of what we do in terms of our corporate social responsibility initiatives. And so apart from the hardcore marketing and commercial activities which I'm involved in, I'm also involved in the CSR agenda, sustainability, and all those charitable and philanthropy initiatives that we do as a bank as well.
Excellent. And you, Craig?
Yeah, thanks, Kendall. I'd say good morning to everyone. And it's a pleasure being here, obviously, with our new partners, Republic Bank EC Limited, and promoting this innovative partnership on what we call the Republic Bank Sustainability Fund. And of course, I am the Chief Executive Officer of the Lucia National Conservation Fund. We're privately incorporated, but we are not for-profit organization. Basically, our role is really to provide sustainable financing for conservation-oriented activities, natural resource management, and so on and so forth in St. Lucia. So we have what we call a fundraising portfolio and also a small grants mechanism. And on the basis of that, we've been able to establish this innovative and positive partnership with Republic Bank.
Excellent. So let's talk about the partnership now between the St. Lucia National Conservation Fund and Republic Bank. Now, on June 20th, there was a major announcement made. So talk about it. What is the partnership all about?
Okay, and thank you for that question. Kendall, I'm sure you would recall back in 2019, November, Republic Bank acquired the assets of this previous Scotiabank territories in the East Caribbean. And from since then, we have been doing some significant work in terms of getting the brand up to speed to resonate with our Eastern Caribbean territories. That being settled, we embarked on what we call the introduction of what we call the Power to Make a Difference program, which is a corporate social responsibility program which is run throughout the regions in which the bank operates. And as you may be aware, Republic Bank operates in 14 different countries. So it's significant for us. And for the East Caribbean territories, we would have launched our Power to Make a Difference program, which tackles 4 strategic areas: the power to care, the power to help, the power to learn, and the power to succeed. Now, if you look at this program, it's very broad, all right, and overarching, and it basically tackles every social ill, every marginalized individual, every sector, from a developmental standpoint, community development, and so on. But we wanted more than that still. We wanted a partner in there that spoke specifically to sustainability and conservation and biodiversity and those sort of areas. And so we started searching. We started the search, obviously looking for partners who fit the profile to embark on that type of initiatives. And we came across the St. Lucia National Conservation Fund. Now, this discussions took place at a very high level, executive management and so forth. And a couple of meetings were held back and forth, make sure that we kind of get the model right. And we were very happy to be at a point where we were able to make that announcement a couple of weeks ago, where we committed $750,000 EC dollars to the National Conservation Fund over the next 5 years. And as we say, it's a partnership, so it's not a one-off transaction. We want to build that partnership and then to be extended to another 5 years or another 10 years. That's the objective of what we're trying to do. Why is this St. Lucia National Conservation Fund?
Yeah.
I mean, the track record is there. They have been doing some excellent work in that space. And we are very confident that these funds is going to be used for the purpose that it was intended, and to continue to play that role in that space. If we're talking sustainability, we need to enable and create a better ecosystems for all. Right? And that is what Republic Bank is all about, working with key stakeholders, very key stakeholders, to ensure that we transform the communities and spaces in which we operate. As I said, we are a regional bank operating in 14 countries across the region, and that's significant for us. And we have to play our role as a good corporate citizen and make sure that we work hand in hand with our communities for the betterment of us all.
Excellent. Now, Craig, I mean, there are hundreds of partners that you could have selected, but you decided on Republic Bank. All the organizations that we have in St. Lucia, why did the SLUNCF decide to go with Republic Bank EC?
I think it's, I believe, and based on the conversations that took place prior to the establishment of the partnership agreement, I guess there was certainly what we call a confluence of interests, and the bank itself wanting to emphasize and do something different with regards to Power to Make a Difference program. And here it is that what we try to do as much as possible in St. Lucia is focus on innovation in practice. Many of your viewers may not know that, but getting funds for conservation and sustainability is a very difficult thing. And of course, getting partnerships that go beyond like a project cycle, probably 1 year, 2 years, is also difficult. And so having had some very fruitful discussions, and of course, there was eagerness and enthusiasm on both sides. It only came naturally that this partnership came together in a very quick, I should say, and very fruitous beginning, and the expectation is that it will be something that is going to be long-lasting, given that Republic Bank also intends to have its footprint within the region for some time to come.
Excellent. Now, you mentioned that it is difficult to get that sponsorship. Why would you think it is difficult?
It's all right. I think it is difficult because the thing is, although there is donor funding everywhere in the world, literally billions and millions of dollars available for that, but then donors often want to be confident that funds are going to be used in a particular way that's going to bring the best outcome and impact in the community. And so you have to be able to sell yourself, let's put it that way, to convince the donor to get their attention, and as well to convince the donor, of course, this is a partnership worthy of their time, effort, and resources, because everyone wants to see results. And the other big thing about conservation is that results don't necessarily come in immediately. So that's something that requires sustainability of a partnership. That's why it's so difficult.
All right. Let's take a quick break and we'll get back to more. This is Issues and Answers here on GIS and NTN with your host, Kendall Eugene. Today we have with us Mr. Kelly Mitchell from Republic Bank and Mr. Craig Henry. He is representing the St. Lucia National Conservation Fund. Be right back.
No one ever reads the fine print. But if you use a cell phone, landline, the internet, or cable TV, read the terms of the service contract carefully and pay attention to the type of service, the length of the contract renewal, penalties, fees for services, termination, and reconnection, fee increases, and how much notice is required. The option not to receive advertisements and sharing personal information with third parties. Do not sign a contract that you are not satisfied satisfied or comfortable with.
This message is brought to you as a public service announcement by ECTEL, the NTRC, and this station.
Welcome back to Issues and Answers. It's your host, Kendall Eugene. Today, we are here with Mr. Kelly Mitchell, Marketing Specialist at Republic Bank EC Limited, and we also have joining us Mr. Craig Henry, the Executive Officer of the St. Lucia National Conservation Fund. We're talking about the partnership and the call for proposals. Just before we jump into the call for proposals, I want to find out about the partnership itself. How is it different from the bank's Power to Make a Difference program?
Okay, and that's a very good question. And based on my previous comments, so let me just explain it. So the bank, as the RFHL group, we have this program called the Power to Make a Difference, which is our corporate social responsibility vehicle for transformational change. And so, coming off these 4 strategic pillars, we wanted to make sure sustainability is a key focus area for us. So if I were to zoom into St. Lucia, as a matter of fact, just in January, we would have launched our inaugural partners under the Power to Make a Difference program, right? So for example, we have the Darren Sammy Foundation, we have the National Blind Welfare Association, Persons Living with Disabilities, etc., right? And these are our inaugural partners. Now, coming on is the St. Lucia National Conservation Fund. So it is not a different program, but it's part and parcel of the overall Power to Make a Difference program. And this is where the focus is different, right? The focus is about biodiversity, conservation, that whole green space, protecting our ecosystems and so on. And Craig mentioned that it's difficult to get funding.
Yeah.
And that is where, because of our interest in that space, because we understand what it means. I mean, we can talk sustainability, but if we're not putting the action behind it, it makes no sense. And so when the SLUNCF approached the Republic Bank, it was a good marriage right from the start, because you have a partner, you have 2 partners who with similar interests, who understands what we're getting into and understand the significance of sustainability. I mean, Republic Bank would have signed on to the Principles of Responsible Banking back in 2020.
Yes.
Right? This is really a major initiative, the only financial institution in the region being a signatory to this United Nations Environmental Program Finance Initiative. This speaks volumes for the bank, right? So it's not just about the bank throwing out money and putting up a flag or putting up a banner. Is about working with our key stakeholders hand in hand to ensure that we create that transformational change, right? It's all well and good to make money, because that's the whole point of a business. But the question for us is that how do we balance our profitability with taking into consideration the environment and how we are impacting the environment, and what can we do as a regional bank to help and to develop in areas where we can. And that is where we call the balancing of all these things. How do we ensure and enable a sustainable environment for tomorrow and 10 and 15 years to come? And so it's all part of the overarching Power to Make a Difference program. So we have 4 strategic pillars. Let me just reiterate it.
Yeah,
the
please.
power to learn, right? The power to care, the power to help, the power to succeed. And in there, you would find a focus on sustainability. If I may add, Republic Bank would have also committed to doing some significant work in the area of the Sustainable Development Goals. So we look at things like climate action, clean and affordable energy. All those areas are areas that we put our money behind to ensure that we create some material change, right? We made a major announcement a few months back. Our president would have made an announcement where we committed $200 million for sustainable projects.
Yes.
Sustainable financing projects across our 14 operating territories. So it's not just about us talking the talk, but it's true demonstration of our focus and interest in ensuring that our environments are sustainable.
Excellent. Now, with the collaboration, I'm sure that everyone has a specific role. What would the role of Republic Bank be in the collaboration or in this partnership? What is the responsibility in the partnership?
Right. So first of all, our responsibility is providing the funding, right, which we would have already committed, right? 750,000 EC over the next 5 years. And apart from that, we will work with the SLUNCF hand in hand in terms of the technical committee, advisory council. And we were going to work together. So we'll review proposals together, make sure we find that balance and ensure that we offer whatever technical assistance that we can and support. Obviously, the SLUNCF, that's no stranger to what they do. So they're the experts, right? So a matter of fact, once they would have satisfied that, okay, these are the proposals that we're going to be moving forward with, we just give it the nod, endorse it, and just make sure that we move into action of making those projects materialize.
All right. Now, Craig, with the proposals being opened from the 3rd of July, when does it close? And can you also just let us know how the application process, run us through the application process for the program, and what are the key criteria you would say is necessary for anyone wishing to apply?
Okay, great. So we have first of all, we have what is called a call for concept notes. So that's what was announced on July 3rd, and that goes on to August 31st.
Okay.
So in terms of our grants process, small grants process, we do it in 2 phases. What we first do is have a call for concept notes, and a concept note really is something to convey your intent. What is it that you intend to do with funds? What are the projects? So it's a very simple framework, and that is, of course, is submitted for review. And based on the theme for the particular call for concept notes and the assessments or the review process, whereby we have a technical advisory team and experts, even myself, critically involved, and of course, Republic Bank being a new partner. It's a learning process, so they're also coming along. Based on the results of that, then we prioritize which of the concept notes that could be moving forward to what we call the full proposal stage. Now, at that point, having developed a concept note, developing a full proposal is a cinch. Basically, you just need more information, details, and so on and so forth, how things are going to be done. And then that takes it, then there is another review process at that point, and then grants are awarded. So, I mean, in terms of our own grant system, eligibility really requires that you are involved in sustainability. NGOs, community-based organizations, government departments, private sector that are involved in sustainability can apply, are eligible to apply for funding. And it is because we recognize that all of these are key actors or players in the whole movement to environmental sustainability, increasing resilience to climate change, and also looking at those things as what we call strategic investments, because you know, we all understand the value of our environment and the challenges that we are facing. So there are various ideas and initiatives that can be the building blocks for us getting to some of our environmental sustainability targets.
All right, hold that thought there. We'll come back and chat a little bit more about that one, because I think that is very important, especially for individuals that would like to apply to receive some funding.
Sure.
This is Issues and Answers, production of the Government Information Service and the National Television Network. Your host, Kendall Eugene. We'll take a break. Be right back.
I have my mobile, landline, cable TV, and internet service. If I have a problem with any of the services, what should I do?
Here's what you should do to resolve the problem. First, get and fill out a complaint form and lodge your complaint with the service provider. If after 30 days there is still no solution, you may contact your National Telecommunications Regulatory Commission, NTRC.
This message is brought to you as a public service announcement by ECTEL, the NTRC, and this station.
And welcome back to Issues and Answers, a production of the Government Information Service and the National Television Network. I am your host, Kendall Eugene. With me today, we have 2 guests, Mr. Kelly Mitchell, Marketing Specialist at Republic Bank EC Limited, and Mr. Craig Henry, the Executive Officer of the St. Lucia National Conservation Fund. Just before we went into the break, we were talking about the whole application process, and you were really making some key points on that. So you could continue on that, and as well as walking us through the application process.
Well, for sure. So certainly this year, every funding cycle or every call for proposals, and this is a special one because, again, of the partnership, there is a theme for each call. So this year we're looking to fund projects that focus on reducing or improving our food security, supporting livelihoods, innovation in areas such as climate smart agriculture. But then we also want to target key groups such as youth who are at risk, rural women's groups, and so on and so forth. And those initiatives that would not exclusively but support employment, generate employment, and have some potential for replicability or be repeated within the St. Lucian context. And the reason why we want to do that again is to support those. Sometimes people talk about green shoots initiatives that have the potential, but because of resources, they don't go very far.
A problem that all of our aspiring entrepreneurs face, even in the farming industry.
Correct.
We have young farmers saying that it is so difficult to start up. The startup capital is non-existent, but they have the idea. I don't only want to do bananas, but I want to have some produce coming up and sell as well. So they can take advantage of you saying that you are targeting these individuals.
Exactly, and I want to emphasize something. If you are a grantee of the St. Lucia National Conservation Fund, we don't just give you the funds and you walk away. But we have a holistic approach to our grant making system. So we are not only interested in your project, but we're also interested in you as a group, as an NGO, as a department. So we have that kind of engagement. So where it is that many of our community-based organizations have capacity issues, probably they don't know how to put together proper report, or they have issues with their monitoring, or even technical expertise that would help them be successful. We try as much as possible apart from the funding to provide that support where it either for referrals or bringing in experts and so on and so forth. So all that is geared towards making the grants, the projects themselves, even the groups themselves more successful. If we're looking at timelines now, we're looking to see that by September, we would have been able to announce or award projects. So the funding amounts for this cycle for grants could be the lower end 15,000 EC dollars to the higher end 45,000. And of course, something also special at the SLUNCF is that if you're successful, you can become, you can get a top up. And that's something very exciting because we recognize, again, the challenge in continuity and progress and so on and so forth. So we encourage our grantees to be model grantees, work with us and so on and so forth. Everything doesn't have to be successful at the get-go.
Right.
But we recognize there is progress to be made. We recognize where progress is and where challenges are, and then we try to build that, to fill that gap.
After I have applied for the program, how long does it take for me to get feedback that I have been, or I will be awarded the grant?
Well, it all depends, because the thing is, sometimes it takes longer but normally, from the time that we announce the call for concept notes to actually awarding the grant, between 2 and 3 months. And it depends again on the size of the grant itself, the number of applicants, and so on and so forth. Some calls are specific. So, for instance, if tomorrow we give out a call for experts in coral reef restoration, then that is a specific niche that you don't have too many people, so that might take probably about a month or so. But something as broad as this one, we do anticipate that there will be many applications, several applications, so we want to be fair to the process, so that timeline, about 3 months, would be appropriate.
Is there a limit to the number of projects that can be used for the funding?
If I understand your question correctly, once you fall within that concept or the theme, then yes. You can't put in more than one application at one time,
right?
Let us say. And we don't sponsor individuals.
Okay.
So let's say like I'm an individual farmer, I come to you.
Right.
It's not like that. What we're trying to encourage is community-based organization. The group, there's a focus on the group. But enterprises, if you have a private enterprise that is involved in sustainability, yes, that can go through on certain conditions, yes.
So it must be an enterprise or a group organization, a community organization, coming to you, not just myself as a farmer or Kelly saying, okay, I've just started my greenhouse, let me get some funding.
Yes.
All right.
What Kelly would do is be smart and start to speak about with his community and see where there's interest. And although he wouldn't qualify for this year, but organize within the community a network of farmers to see how, and you focus on something that is sustainable. Either you'll decide to go full organic and we say, fellas, that's what we're doing. No harsh chemicals, no poisons, poisonous or some things for our environment. And so we're moving that way. And then there is sincere action and commitment to that. Yes.
With the funds now, is it limited to projects within St. Lucia, or the other Eastern Caribbean territories can be considered?
Well, within St. Lucia. However, we also take into consideration externally based NGOs, externally created NGOs, but have been in St. Lucia for some time.
Okay.
So an agency like IECA, although they're based outward, but they've been they have their footprint in St. Lucia for a number of years, and so we'll consider them local. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just before we end, guys, give me some closing remarks. We can start with you, Kelly.
All right, so thanks again, Scotty. I would just like to end by saying this. To the stakeholders out there, we encourage you to take advantage of this opportunity. There are a lot of times when we say that there is no funding, Craig said it himself, sourcing the funds on one hand is very difficult. So now that there's a fund established to help you, we encourage you to take the time to put your proposals together, submit them. The capable hands of the SLUNCF will, offer the technical assistance where necessary, where needed, and to ensure that you move to the next level. So at this juncture, I would just like to say that the Republic Bank is extremely happy to reach at this point where we make the announcements, we open call for proposals, and we look forward to getting those proposals and be able in a position to execute on those projects. We're very happy to be at this stage.
Right. And you, Greg? I know.
Yeah, so thanks again for hosting us, and of course, Kelly representing the Republic Bank. Some important points. So I just want to remind folks that you could go to our website, www.sluncf.org, to actually look at the call information and where you can get your application templates. But as well, if you have a challenge, feel free to contact me, or and the contact information is on our website as well. Any challenge you may have, there might be some clarification that you would require in terms of filling out the templates. You're having issues, we are approachable. So the deadline is August 31st. There's sufficient time. Like I said, the concept notes is meant to be very simple in terms of how they're put together. So I'm looking forward to some excellent concept notes. In fact, we are, I should say that. And then, of course, partnerships to move forward.
All right.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for being our guest today on Issues and Answers. And folks, we look forward to all the applications coming in. This has been Issues and Answers, a production of the Government Information Service and the National Television Network. Your host, Kendall Eugene. Thank you for joining.